His gaze remained calm, but within it, there was a fleeting trace of something unusual. The 3 trials of Tian Yun's sect were personally arranged by Tian Yunzi, who tore through the void and chose a piece of land to serve as the location for these trials. Only by passing these 3 trials could one qualify to become a disciple of Tian Yun's sect. This was an ironclad rule that no one could alter. At this moment, within the mortal trial, a mist-like veil seemed to shroud the world, and deep within it, there was a place resembling a land of peach blossoms. Here, the air was filled with the fragrance of flowers and birdsong, while willows offered cool shade. A sudden bark of a dog did not disturb the tranquility, but instead seemed to awaken the surroundings, and the sound of human voices began to echo. This land of peach blossoms was a mountain village. Though small, the villagers were all close neighbors, living together in harmony. At the 3rd house on the northern end of the village was a simple but comfortable residence. At the door, several golden strands of hairtail grass added a touch of spring. Inside the yard, neat logs were stacked into a small hill, with several wooden round chairs scattered around, and a wooden table placed beside them, holding a teacup and teapot. At this moment, an elderly man with a face full of wrinkles sat in a chair, savoring tea. Though his hair was white, he showed no signs of aging. Holding the teacup, he took a sip and then looked up towards the house. Inside, a young man, not yet 20, was holding a small carving knife, focused on carving a piece of redwood. The elderly man smiled gently at him, his expression full of peace. After a moment, the young man wrinkled his nose, looked up and met the old man's gaze, then quickly ran over to his side and, in a childlike voice, asked, "Who exactly are you?" The old man set down his cup, patted the boy's head, and smiled. "If you say I am someone, then I am that person." Just as the boy was about to speak, a stern voice came from inside the house. "Who's he? Stop bothering your grandfather. Go back to carving." With the voice, a middle-aged man parted the curtain and walked out of the house. The boy didn't look back, but sighed, giving the old man a long look before turning and walking back into the house. He resumed carving, though his eyes were filled with deep confusion. The middle-aged man glared at the boy, then walked over to the old man, sitting beside him and refilling his tea. "Father, tomorrow I need to go to the mountains." The old man continued to look at the boy with a kind expression. After hearing his son's words, he gave a slight nod and said nothing more. "Why are you going to the mountains?" A woman's voice came from outside the gate, and a white-haired old woman entered the yard, holding a basket of vegetables. The middle-aged man quickly stood up and took the basket from her. "Mother, I heard from Erinyo in the East Village that things aren't peaceful in the mountains recently. There are large insects. We plan to find a few people to go up and take a look. If we're lucky, we can get a tiger pelt for Father's coat." The old woman opened her mouth, as if to say something, but in the end, she merely glanced at the old man, who was still watching his grandson, sighed, and shook her head without speaking. Days passed, and after leaving, the middle-aged man never returned. The old woman, filled with longing for her son, waited day and night. Eventually, all that came back was a mangled corpse. In her grief, she fainted and never awoke. From then on, only the grandfather and grandson remained in the house. The boy continued his wood carving, and the old man watched on. "Have you learned to carve yet?" One day, the old man asked softly. "Not yet. Carving is too difficult. I can't seem to get it right." The boy looked up calmly at the old man and said, "How many times has it been?" The old man fell silent for a moment, then sighed and spoke. The boy looked up at the old man and replied flatly, "The 83rd time. The next one isn't far off." Still unwilling to end it, the old man sighed. The boy gazed at the sky for a moment, then shook his head. "Why end it? This life is good, except I still don't know who you really are. Reincarnation countless times, every time the same. Nothing changes. You know that once someone leaves, they will never return. You've experienced the same process countless times. Don't you see through it? What are you really doing?" The old man picked up his teacup, brought it to his lips, but did not drink. The boy withdrew his gaze and focused on the wood carving in his hands. After a long while, he whispered, "Should it end?" "No." Under the Bodhi tree in Tian Yun's sect, a young man with a friendly expression now had a very serious look on his face. He stared into the distant void, a shadow passing through his eyes. 83 days. This person is no ordinary individual. Even junior brother Sun Yun only lasted 67 days. The 3 trials of initiation, though they are called tests, in reality, if you can taste their true meaning, it is a tremendous opportunity. These trials can only be undergone once in a lifetime, and they were set up with great care by our master. This Wang Lin, however, has lingered in the first trial for 83 days. This person cannot be left alive. His face grew darker, and his gaze became erratic. After a moment, he formed a gesture with both hands, and rainbow-colored clouds began to flicker in his palms, emitting dazzling colors. "Future junior brother, allow me to lend you a hand," he said, extending his hands forward. Instantly, the rainbow-colored light shot out from his palms, vanishing into the void in the blink of an eye. Inside the mortal trial, the young man had been carving steadily with his head lowered. Suddenly, he jerked his head up, gazing into the distance. He saw a rainbow-colored light suddenly appear from the sky, emitting thousands of rays of light. This light was extraordinarily domineering, and wherever it shone, it felt like a burning iron was pressed into the snow, causing the bird songs in this land of peach blossoms to disappear at once. The fragrance of flowers faded away. The houses in the mountain village immediately vanished, turning into wisps of white mist that spread outwards, gradually becoming fainter and more indistinct. One by one, the houses disappeared under the illumination of the light, and in the end, only the third house at the northern end remained standing alone. The young man's eyes revealed a strange glint as he stared at the rainbow-colored light. His carving knife swung sharply, and a blinding silver light shot out, heading straight for the rainbow in the sky. A deafening sound suddenly echoed from the sky, shaking the surroundings, dispersing all the mist. The rainbow light seemed to flicker as if it were a candle flame buffeted by wind, immediately becoming erratic. But then, the light merged in an eerie way, forming a pair of bright eyes in the sky, as if seeing through the void, locking onto the young man. The young man looked up, his gaze cold. With a swipe of his right hand, the piles of wood in the yard immediately rose into the air. The young man waved his hands rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, countless pieces of wood fell down, rapidly forming into houses and statues of villagers. He shook his hand sharply, and the wooden sculptures instantly caught fire, emitting a faint glow that grew into a blazing flame, rapidly spreading outwards. At that moment, everything that had vanished, the villagers, the houses, the bird songs, the fragrance of flowers, all returned to their original state. The land once again turned into a land of peach blossoms. "Whoever you are, disappear now," the young man said, his voice calm but carrying an overwhelming killing intent. The pair of eyes in the sky focused on the young man, and after a while, they slowly faded away. Under the Bodhi tree on the peak of Tianyun's sect, a young man with a kind face suddenly blinked his eyes and murmured to himself, "So that's it. This person practices the path of reincarnation. No wonder he could persist for 83 days in it. Every day, he experiences a reincarnation, gaining new insights with each cycle." Inside the mortal trial, the elder in the yard side stood up and looked at the young man, speaking softly, "The 84th cycle is about to begin. Are you sure you want to continue?" The young man lowered his head, looking at the unfinished wooden sculpture in his hands. It was the figure of a woman. "Continue. This is the Tao of seeking, in the true meaning of the mortal trial." In the depths of Tianyun's sect, on a black altar, Tianyunzi sat cross-legged, his eyes closed in quiet meditation. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, a satisfied smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. "This child is very good." 10 days later, in the mortal trial, in the land of peach blossoms, a figure stepped out. This figure took his first step as a child, his second step as a youth, and with the third step, he transformed into a young man. The young man, with long hair flowing in the wind, dressed in white as pure as snow, stepped out of the peach blossom grove. In his hand, he held a wooden sculpture. This time, the sculpture was complete. It was a woman, gentle and beautiful, like an immortal. A bright smile spread across her face, and her gaze exuded joy. This young man was Wang Lin. Without 100 lifetimes of reincarnation, how could one ask the Tao? Without 1,000 years of cultivation, how could one question the heavens? The mortal trial is truly fascinating. Wang Lin's gaze was serene, and at this moment, there was a subtle change in him compared to when he entered. But this change was deeply hidden, almost impossible to detect. Yet, one could see that his eyes had become clearer, like the starry sky itself. Wang Lin took a step forward, and his figure vanished into the void, having passed the mortal trial. The earth trial tests cultivation. Are you ready to face it? What is there to fear? Wang Lin smiled and looked up. Wang Lin stood there, gazing around with a calm demeanor. This trial tests cultivation, but in what way? Wang Lin took steady steps, his eyes reflecting deep thought. Just then, a red flame shot up from a nearby crack in the ground, merging in midair to transform into a fiery red figure. The man had red hair that moved as if blown by an invisible wind, scattering like countless tentacles. He stood with his arms crossed, and where his face had once been a blur, two eerie ghostly lights suddenly appeared. The 10th guardian of the Earth Trial, defeat me, and you may proceed. The fiery red figure spoke coldly. Wang Lin calmly looked at him, saying nothing as he lunged forward. At the same time, his hands formed a seal, creating a Tai Chi-like formation with one hand in front and the other behind. With a sudden shake, he thrust his hands forward. Immediately, an immense force surged from within Wang Lin's body, flowing wildly and forming before him. Break! Wang Lin whispered, his entire body flashing with a brilliant light. The fiery red figure's eyes gleamed with ghostly light, and his body suddenly retreated. He quickly lowered his arms and struck forward. There was a massive explosion, and the wind and sand surged as the ground cracked open. The sound of the explosion spread like wildfire, and the fiery red figure was blasted back. His arms, bloodied and mangled, only came to a stop after retreating several dozen yards. He finally raised his head to stare at Wang Lin. Wang Lin stopped, hands behind his back, his expression composed as he gazed at the figure. He spoke calmly, "Step back." The fiery red figure was silent for a moment, then bowed to Wang Lin. His body flickered and transformed into sparks of flame, disappearing into the cracks in the ground. Wang Lin gazed quietly into the distance, where there were likely more creatures like this, testing the strength of those entering this trial. The 3 trials of Tianyun's sect. There must be observers watching from the outside, Wang Lin muttered, a mysterious smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Without further ado, he turned and left. I give up on the Earth Trial. As the words left his mouth, Wang Lin's figure vanished within the Earth Trial. Under the Bodhi tree on the lonely mountain of Tianyun's sect, the young man with a kind expression furrowed his brow, his gaze flickering uncertainly. This person gave up quite decisively. It's a shame I couldn't see his level of cultivation improvement, but even in the early infant metamorphosis stage, no matter how skilled, it is still insufficient. Suddenly, his expression cleared, and his brows relaxed. He once again wore a kind smile and spoke gently, "Junior brother, it's been a long time. Has your journey been smooth?" With the eldest senior brother thinking of me, of course, the journey has been smooth. A soft, feminine voice floated from the distance. At the same time, a young man in white stepped forward from the distant void. With each step, he approached the top of the lonely mountain. It was none other than Bai Wei, the young man who had met Wang Lin at the trading star. The kind-hearted youth turned to Bai Wei, smiling, "Junior brother, did you find a suitable gift for Master's birthday?" Bai Wei casually glanced at the empty space in the distance and smiled. "The gift I prepared is but a trinket, nothing compared to what senior brother has." "Oh." As he spoke, Bai Wei's eyes suddenly narrowed, his gaze fixing on the emptiness, revealing an unusual expression. The kind-hearted youth's mind stirred. This person is a registered disciple master accepted on Vermilion Birdstar. He came here a few months ago and passed the trials for entry. Now, he has reached the 3rd trial. It's him. Bai Wei's eyes flickered, and he nodded. "I see." Master has arranged for him to stay at the Purple Cloud Pavilion, the kind-hearted youth casually remarked. Purple Cloud Pavilion. Bai Wei's expression shifted, his eyes cooling. After a brief silence, he spoke slowly, "Senior brother, I have other matters to attend to. Let's catch up some other time. How about this? Give me a leaf from your 3,000-year-old 5-leaf grass. I'll trade it for a flame crystal. How does that sound?" The kind-hearted youth laughed heartily and nodded. "That's a deal. Go to my cave residence, and let my attendant guide you to it." Bai Wei cupped his hands in a salute, casting one final deep glance at the emptiness before vanishing in a blur. The kind-hearted youth stroked his chin, a trace of distaste crossing his expression as he murmured to himself, "Why has Master arranged for him to stay at the Purple Cloud Pavilion? If not for this, he might have had a smoother journey within the sect. Now, this feels like he's being placed under pressure." The trial of the heavens tests one's doubt heart. At this moment, within the trial of the heavens, Wang Lin sat cross-legged on the ground, eyes closed in deep thought. After giving up on the Earth trial, he entered this trial, undergoing the final test. He had been sitting in silence for 30 days now. During these 30 days, Wang Lin had been contemplating the mysteries of the trial of the heavens. Here, his understanding seemed to be infinitely close to the Tao, as if the Tao was just a hand's reach away, waiting to be touched. Time passed slowly, and Wang Lin lost all sense of time in this place. He remained in stillness, not moving, his Tao heart staying contained without any outward expression. Wang Lin wasn't in a hurry. As he sat in silence, he faintly sensed that he was approaching some boundary. Combining his experiences in the mortal and earth trials, a single word, Tao, slowly emerged within his essence spirit, gradually materializing from nothing. On this day, it was the 51st day that Wang Lin had spent within the heavenly trial, and on this day, he opened his eyes, awakening from his meditation. His eyes lacked any brightness, yet there was a strange gleam flickering within them. He sat there, contemplating for a moment, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his lips. These 3 trials of man, earth, and heaven, it turns out they are not trials but opportunities. To understand is to understand, to comprehend is to comprehend. So this is how it is. Wang Lin stretched out his arms, stood up, and glanced around, laughing, heavenly trial, I give up. As soon as the words left his mouth, the world around him suddenly blurred, spinning wildly as if in a frenzy. Everything seemed to rotate rapidly around Wang Lin as its center, until with a final tremor, all the material around him vanished without a trace. Wang Lin had always been standing outside the vast mountain range of Tianyun sect. Before him stood a figure dressed in purple robes, with a kind face, smiling at Wang Lin. Junior brother Wang Lin, I am Zhao Xingsha, the earliest disciple to enter the sect among the purple lineage students of our master. You may call me eldest senior brother. Wang Lin looked at him briefly and cupped his fists in greeting. Wang Lin pays his respects to eldest senior brother. Zhao Xingsha smiled slightly, extending his right hand forward and gesturing, Junior brother Wang Lin, come with me. The master has instructed that you stay temporarily at the Violet Cloud Pavilion. With that, Zhao Xingsha moved ahead, leading the way, and Wang Lin followed quickly behind. The two transformed into 2 streaks of light, racing towards the depths of the vast mountain range. During their flight, Zhao Xingsha was very talkative, explaining in detail about Tianyun sect. He spoke with charm and wit, often highlighting key points in a single sentence, and Wang Lin soon had a simple impression of Tianyun sect. Senior brother Zhao, how many disciples does Elder Tianyunzi have? Wang Lin asked. Zhao Xingsha smiled faintly, forming a hand seal with his right hand. As he pointed forward, the clouds parted, revealing a passageway. As he flew into it, he smiled and said, Junior brother, our master has taken in 7 disciples from 7 lineages, namely red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. You and I are both from the purple lineage. Purple lineage. Wang Lin's gaze flickered. Zhao Xingsha sighed lightly and said, among the 7 lineages, only my purple lineage is the weakest. Sigh, you'll come to understand this in time, but I won't say more for now. After flying for some time, they crossed the vast mountain range and a towering peak appeared ahead. At the summit stood a luxurious tower, and dense purple light emanated from it, spreading in all directions. Circles of purple light surrounded the surrounding mountains and trees, casting everything in a purple glow. It felt as if this was the very source of the purple aura from the east, and just looking at it sent a shock through the mind. Junior brother Wang Lin, come with me. Zhao Xingsha moved swiftly and flew up the mountain, with Wang Lin close behind. At the base of the mountain, under the towering pagoda, countless disciples of Tianyun sect were meditating, their figures filling the area. From a distance, it looked like tens of thousands of people. Behind the mountain, countless pavilions and halls stretched on endlessly, with disciples either teaching, practicing spells, or meditating in lotus position. With a single glance, Wang Lin estimated that there were no less than 100,000 disciples here. The mountain was vast, and especially behind it, it stretched endlessly like a giant dragon lying down. It was easy to lose oneself in this expansive sect, as if one were submerged in the grandeur of it all. This is the Violet Lineage Mountain Gate of Tianyun sect, Junior brother Wang Lin. If you head west, you'll find the Violet Cloud Pavilion. You'll be able to sense it with your divine sense. I have some urgent matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave here. Zhao Xingsha cupped his fists and smiled. Wang Lin nodded, returned the salute, and in a flash, sped westward. Zhao Xingsha's face remained kindly, but his eyes flickered with a strange gleam. As Wang Lin flew, his heart sneered. The moment he laid eyes on Zhao Xingsha, he recognized him as the same person he had encountered within the mortal trial, surrounded by the 7-colored radiance. But Wang Lin kept his thoughts to himself, not revealing a single trace of his insight along the way. After a while, Wang Lin's divine sense swept forward, and he saw a pavilion glowing with a faint purple light. The 3 large characters Violet Cloud Pavilion were written above it. Tianyun sect is truly enormous. Even the violet lineage has such scale. I wonder what the other 6 lineages are like. And the main sect of Tianyun's sect must be even more unimaginable, Wang Lin thought, his gaze flashing. In the next instant, he descended in front of the violet cloud pavilion. Just as he was about to take a step forward, his brows furrowed, and his gaze turned towards the interior of the pavilion. He saw a woman walking out from inside the violet cloud pavilion. She was dressed in a purple robe adorned with golden flowers. Her beautiful face carried a murderous aura as she stared coldly at Wang Lin. "You cannot stay here." Her murderous aura intensified as she spoke coldly. "I won't explain why. You may stay anywhere, but not here." Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and after examining the pavilion behind her, he fell silent for a moment. He then stepped back a few paces, sat cross-legged, and closed his eyes to meditate. Arriving at the Destiny Star, Wang Lin was unwilling to stir up trouble. There was simply no need to create enemies over something as trivial as a residence. Furthermore, the situation here was somewhat complicated. Wang Lin pondered inwardly, believing that everything here was probably closely tied to the Violet Cloud Pavilion. When the woman saw Wang Lin sitting down, her brows furrowed. Coldly, she said, "This place is off limits. Within 100 miles of the Violet Cloud Pavilion, you are forbidden to step even a single foot closer. Leave now." Wang Lin suddenly raised his head, a flash of killing intent in his eyes as he fixed his gaze on her. Her cultivation was at the early infant metamorphosis stage, and Wang Lin didn't take her seriously. The woman didn't look away, staring directly at Wang Lin. After a while, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze, stood up, and walked off into the distance. Only when his figure vanished from her sight did she realize that her back was drenched in sweat, a chill sweeping over her. She bit her lip, her eyes dimming as she slowly left the Violet Cloud Pavilion. Sitting nearby, she gazed blankly at the sky and murmured, "Senior brother Sun Yun, as long as I'm here, no one can replace you. No one." 100 miles outside the Violet Cloud Pavilion, beside a picturesque cliff, Wang Lin waved his right hand. A streak of sword light shot out from his storage pouch, piercing the cliff with lightning speed. After a few moments, a cave dwelling began to take shape. Wang Lin retracted the flying sword, entered the cave, and set up several protective formations before sitting down cross-legged, exhaling deeply. The look of contemplation in his eyes was intense. "The atmosphere within the Tianyun sect feels off. I've barely passed the 3 trials of initiation, yet Zhao Xingsha addressed me as junior brother and mentioned that Tianyunzi had arranged for me to stay at the Violet Cloud Pavilion. Now, there are people guarding the Violet Cloud Pavilion, preventing anyone from getting close. Everything is shrouded in fog, hard to see clearly. I need to find a way to uncover the truth about these matters, especially the story behind the Violet Cloud Pavilion." In the stillness of the night, the Violet sect of the Tianyun sect remained silent. Except for a few disciples guarding the mountain, most were immersed in meditation. Wang Lin opened his eyes in the darkness, his body swaying as he walked out of the cave he had created. His gaze flickered as he surveyed his surroundings, and with a step, he transformed into a wisp of black smoke, disappearing without a trace. The Violet Cloud Pavilion stood like a sleeping ancient beast, silently towering in the distance. At that moment, a wisp of black smoke appeared and darted into the Violet Cloud Pavilion. The Violet Cloud Pavilion had 3 levels. Wang Lin's figure appeared on the first floor, where the surroundings were simple but not lacking in elegance. There was a sense of freshness about it, not mundane at all. After observing the area, Wang Lin ascended to the second floor. Here, there was a bed, several cushions, and a landscape painting hanging on the wall. Beside it lay an ancient sword. Everything was ordinary, with no signs of anything unusual. The third floor was a secret room, evidently used for daily meditation and breathwork. The ceiling was made from materials Wang Lin couldn't identify. Looking up, it seemed unobstructed, offering a clear view of the starry sky. Inside and out, Wang Lin saw no clues or signs. As time passed, half a month soon slipped by, and Wang Lin had remained at the Tianyun sect's Violet sect for that entire time. During these 2 weeks, no one came to visit him. Even the ordinary disciples of the sect gave him strange looks, hurriedly walking away as if he were some kind of plague. Tianyunzi had also never summoned him, almost as though he had been forgotten. The cave Wang Lin had created remained unvisited by anyone within a 10-mile radius, as if they were actively avoiding it. For the past half-month, no one had spoken to him, and Zhao Xingsha seemed to have vanished entirely. The only exception was the woman from the Violet Cloud Pavilion. Every morning, at sunrise, she would go to the pavilion, staring at the building all day long without interruption for the past 2 weeks. If things continued like this, Wang Lin wouldn't mind quietly meditating here, left alone and undisturbed. It was rather peaceful. However, on the afternoon of the 17th day, while he was meditating in his cave, he suddenly furrowed his brows and opened his eyes, looking outside. Outside the cave, 2 streaks of rainbow light flew from the horizon. After circling around for a moment, they landed nearby, transforming into 2 elderly figures wearing light purple robes. One of the elders was plump, and the other was thin. Both had cold expressions as they glanced briefly at the cave where Wang Lin resided. One of them shouted, "Which disciple dared to set up a cave dwelling here without the approval of the elders? Come out now." Wang Lin's figure emerged from the cave. His face was grim as he shot a glance at the 2 elders. Both were at the early infant metamorphosis stage, but Wang Lin wasn't fazed. "Who allowed you to set up a cave dwelling here?" one of the elders asked coldly. "You have 1 incense stick's time to destroy this dwelling. Otherwise, we will deal with you according to sect rules." Wang Lin's eyes grew even calmer as he spoke in a low voice. "Who are you 2? "We are the law enforcement elders of the Violet sect," the other elder, who had remained silent until now, said flatly. With a swift motion, Wang Lin raised his right hand and struck the air behind him. A thunderous crash echoed as the cave residence, which he had inhabited for half a month, suddenly collapsed, sending waves of dust into the air, scattering in all directions. Wang Lin's figure appeared somewhat hazy within the dust cloud, yet his gaze was calm, even more so than before. "Though your cave is destroyed, you have already violated the sect rules. Come with us. Once we reach the Grand Hall, judgment will be passed on you," sneered the elder who had been relentlessly pressing him earlier. Wang Lin took a deep breath, looking at the 2 elders. He spoke plainly, "I originally sought a quiet place to cultivate, not wishing to get involved in schemes and intrigue. But ever since I arrived here, I have been met with exclusion. It is what it is." As he spoke, he took a step forward and slapped his storage pouch with his right hand. In the blink of an eye, the Kunji whip appeared in his grasp. With a flick of his wrist, it flew out like a raging dragon, howling through the air. The 2 elders immediately changed their expressions, retreating quickly as they chanted incantations, their hands forming seals. Suddenly, 2 beams of light, one black and one white, shot out from their bodies. "How dare you strike at the law enforcement elder?" one of the elders shouted in fury. But the Kunji whip moved with incredible speed, its afterimages barely visible. The elder who had spoken saw it coming and immediately turned pale. With a shock, he stumbled back, and with a sharp crack, he was sent flying, spitting blood as his primordial spirit was forcibly ripped from his body, 3 feet away. The Kunji whip, designed to strike at the primordial spirit. His face contorted with disbelief and fear as his primordial spirit struggled to return to his body. However, Wang Lin had no intention of letting him regain control. His right index finger raised, and an arc of light appeared in the air. A flash of red light streaked out, a bolt of arc lightning heading straight for the elder's primordial spirit. The elder, looking grim, opened his mouth and exhaled a misty breath, barely managing to hold back the oncoming lightning. The other elder turned pale and, without a word, waved his hand, releasing a white light. He slapped his storage pouch, summoning a violet sword. The tip of the blade pointed at Wang Lin as he shouted, 7 stars shattering. As soon as the words left his mouth, the violet flying sword flickered, breaking into 7 pieces with a series of cracking sounds. The shards, propelled with the force of 1,000 pounds, surged toward Wang Lin with terrifying speed. Wang Lin whipped around, his eyes flashing with red light. A murderous aura emanated from his gaze, surging out like a wild storm. What kind of gaze is that? What kind of monster have I provoked? The elder thought, his mind shaking involuntarily. At that moment, Wang Lin slapped his storage pouch, and the immortal sword, faster than lightning, appeared in his hand. Right behind it was the crescent blade, one even Wang Lin feared. The air echoed with a series of thunderous crashes. The 7 broken pieces of the flying sword were not even close to the immortal sword before they exploded under the pressure of its aura. From the sword came Su Ligua's mad laughter. The elder didn't hesitate and turned to flee. He had clearly seen that it was not the immortal sword that shattered his flying sword, but the crescent blade following it. That blade had moved back and forth 7 times in the blink of an eye, each time striking precisely at one of the broken shards, causing the 7 pieces to explode. The speed was so fast that it seemed as if all 7 shards shattered simultaneously. The elder was horrified. He regretted listening to Zhao Xingsha's words and cursed himself for his folly. But it was too late. Wang Lin didn't even spare him a glance. With a single step, he appeared beside the elder whose primordial spirit was struggling against the arc lightning. As soon as the elder noticed Wang Lin's presence, he screamed in terror, abandoning all resistance in a desperate attempt to escape. Wang Lin's eyes glowed coldly. With a wave of his right hand, the forbidden banner appeared. He shook it, and countless restraining seals formed a massive net, descending from the sky, completely sealing the elder's retreat. At the same time, Wang Lin stretched out his right hand and shouted, "Come back." The elder's primordial spirit felt a powerful force pulling him from behind. He was trapped within the net of restraints. Though it would take some time to break through, that time was precisely what the elder could not afford. Grinding his teeth, he suddenly turned back, his voice high-pitched, "I am a law enforcement elder. If you kill me, even if you are a disciple of the primordial ancestor, you will still face punishment according to the sect rules. So, you know who I am," Wang Lin sneered. With a fierce grasp, he caught the primordial spirit, pulling it back toward him. At the same time, Wang Lin slapped his storage pouch again, and a bell flew out, growing to 3 meters in size. With a flick of his hand, he threw the primordial spirit toward the bell, which captured it and pressed it firmly to the ground. "Refine," Wang Lin coldly commanded, turning his gaze to the distance. There, the other elder was retreating rapidly, a bitter expression on his face as he stopped 10 paces away from Wang Lin, too afraid to move. The crescent blade continued to flash in front of him, and from the immortal sword, Su Ligu's arrogant shouts could be heard. "Grandson, stand still. If you dare move, I'll slice off a piece of your flesh." Wang Lin looked calmly at the elder, speaking slowly, "Since this place does not need a quiet Wang Lin, then I shall be bold and behave like a tyrant. Now, tell me, who was residing in the Purple Cloud Pavilion before?" Such divine abilities can only be achieved by cultivators at the mid-infant metamorphosis stage. It was a rare occurrence in his life. A strong sense of regret surged within him. If only he had known earlier, he should never have listened to Zhao Xingsha's words, which ultimately led to such an outcome. At this moment, not far from the elder, the sound of his companion's soul being painfully refined came from the large bell that enveloped it. It was clear that the companion was enduring the excruciating torture of being forcibly refined. As this sound reached the elder's ears, he sighed deeply, gave up all resistance, and cast a complicated glance at Wang Lin. He then said, "Let him out first. This matter was our recklessness. Whatever you want to know, I will tell you everything." Wang Lin remained unmoved, coldly staring at the elder. The elder's face twisted with bitterness. His eyes shifted to the constantly flickering crescent blade before him, and he spoke. "The primordial ancestor took on disciples from 7 lineages. Each lineage had 7 disciples, but only one would truly be called the disciple of the primordial ancestor. The others, though disciples, would not receive the direct inheritance of the ancestor. These 7 from the 7 lineages were called the 7 children of heavenly fate." Wang Lin remained silent, listening calmly. Standing there, like a pine tree, an air of arrogance naturally arose from him. At that moment, he was a completely different person from when he had first arrived at the Tianyun sect. One of the 7 children of heavenly fate, the genius of the purple lineage, was a prodigy who emerged 1,000 years ago. This person rose through the ranks and eventually became the top of the purple lineage, replacing the 6th, and became one of the 7 children of heavenly fate. His name was Xun'er, and he resided in the Purple Cloud Pavilion. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. He calmly said, "What does this have to do with me?" At first, nothing. But Xun'er betrayed the sect 100 years ago, for reasons unknown. Despite this, the primordial ancestor did not send anyone to hunt him down but personally went out, returning after a month and ordering the sealing of the Purple Cloud Pavilion. He left behind a message that the next person to reside in the Purple Cloud Pavilion would be one of the 7 children of heavenly fate. The elder paused, casting a complicated glance at Wang Lin, then continued, "Among the purple lineage disciples, including you, there are 7 in total. 6 of them were raised under the Destiny Star, but you are from an abandoned cultivation star. Even among ordinary disciples, you are considered a native cultivator, of lowly status. If it weren't for the primordial ancestor allowing you to stay in the Purple Cloud Pavilion, things would be somewhat smoother. But now, naturally, there is rejection. Moreover, you are new here, and your cultivation is still low. Your senior brothers and sisters naturally dislike you. Though they cannot act openly because of the primordial ancestor, their secret actions are inevitable. I have said all that I needed to say. Today, our trouble with you is our fault. From now on, we will not interfere in the struggles between you and your senior brothers." The elder's eyes swept to the crescent blade before him, with evident fear in his gaze. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly. So this was the cause of everything. He summoned his immortal sword, and it immediately flew to his side. Su Ligua called out, and the crescent blade retreated, allowing the elder to be spared. The immortal sword followed closely. The elder let out a long breath, glancing at the large bell. The painful sounds of his companion's soul had grown faint. Hesitating for a moment, he said, Wang Lin called the bell to his hand. With a flick of his finger, it immediately shrank, releasing a green light that swiftly flew out, attempting to escape. But before it could, Wang Lin caught it with his left hand. A scream echoed from the green light. "I am the law enforcement elder." Before the person could finish, Wang Lin's right hand squeezed, and the green light immediately shattered, revealing a frail soul inside. Without a glance, Wang Lin grabbed the soul and tossed it into his mouth. As soon as the soul entered, it was immediately absorbed by the powerful pull of his own soul banner. After completing this, Wang Lin looked at the elder and said coldly, "Don't you want to leave?" The elder stared blankly at Wang Lin's left hand, unable to believe that this person had dared to swallow a soul in front of him, an act that violated the sect's rules. This was the true path of the demon Dao. His heart shook violently, and he took a few steps back, forced a smile, and said, "I will leave now. I know nothing of today's events. I'll be going." He quickly retreated, unleashing his full cultivation, fleeing madly. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly, and he murmured, "Kill him." Su Ligua cheered, and the immortal sword turned into a bolt of lightning. But the crescent blade was faster, flashing away without a trace. From afar, a faint cry of agony was heard, and within the blink of an eye, the crescent blade returned. Wang Lin's right hand reached out, and the elder's soul was immediately pulled from the blade. The elder attempted to scream, but it was too late. Wang Lin threw his soul into his mouth and trapped it in the soul banner. After all this, Wang Lin's eyes, far from losing their coldness, grew even colder. He turned and, with a single step, flew toward the purple cloud pavilion. The 7 children of heavenly fate arranged for me to stay in the purple cloud pavilion, so everything must have been planned. Since that's the case, I'll make a big scene and let the people of the Violet sect know that I, Wang Lin, am not someone they can bully. He flew swiftly, and soon arrived outside the purple cloud pavilion. The woman in purple was sitting in the pavilion, touching the landscape painting on the wall, her eyes filled with nostalgia. As she sensed Wang Lin's arrival, her brows furrowed. With a flash of her body, she appeared outside the pavilion and looked up at Wang Lin, who was descending like a rainbow. She coldly said, "What do you want this time? Get lost." Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and without saying a word, he made a hand gesture with his right hand and pointed forward. The immortal sword immediately howled as it shot out, heading straight for the woman. The crescent blade followed closely behind. In the blink of an eye, it was already near. The woman's expression changed, and her body suddenly disappeared from its original spot in an instant. Her speed was so fast that it rivaled the crescent blade. The blade barely grazed her, cutting off a few strands of her hair. Wang Lin snorted coldly, raised his right hand toward the sky, and shouted, "Condense." The immortal energy within him surged, following his right hand, and suddenly condensed. A massive white light orb, about 10 feet in diameter, appeared in his palm. Without hesitation, Wang Lin grasped the orb, leaped into the air, and slammed it down while shouting, "Come out." The light orb, like lightning, crashed down from the sky with a thunderous boom, directly smashing into the ground. There was a deafening rumble as the orb merged into the earth, causing the entire ground to shake violently, as if a dragon was writhing beneath the surface. 100 feet away, a flash of white light shot up from the ground, stopping midair to reveal the woman's panicked figure. Wang Lin's gaze turned cold as he stared at her and coldly said, "From today onward, the Violet Cloud Pavilion will be renamed the Violet Forest Pavilion." As he spoke, he slapped his right hand behind him. A streak of green light shot out, landing on the 3 characters of the Violet Cloud Pavilion. In the blink of an eye, the green light vanished, and the cloud and Violet Cloud Pavilion turned into forest. The character Forest exuded an overbearing, arrogant aura, like an enraged dragon rising from the sea or a furious phoenix soaring to the skies. A domineering and prideful energy seemed to radiate from this one character, almost as if it could pierce through everything. Anyone who looked at it would involuntarily feel a jolt in their heart. The woman in purple stared in a daze at the 3 characters' Violet Forest Pavilion, tears streaming down from the corners of her eyes. She suddenly turned her head to glare at Wang Lin, her voice tearing through the air. "I will kill you." As she spoke, her body moved, vanishing from her spot. A gust of wind blew past, and Wang Lin furrowed his brow, immediately retreating. The wind carried with it an overwhelming killing intent. As it swept past, the ground where Wang Lin had just been standing instantly cracked open with deep fissures. As Wang Lin retreated, the woman's figure emerged from the gust of wind. Her eyes were bloodshot, filled with intense killing intent. She brushed her storage pouch, and a red light instantly shot out, transforming in midair into a fiery phoenix. The phoenix let out a fierce cry, and flames spread rapidly around it. However, these flames did not engulf the violet forest pavilion, but instead rained down like molten lava, heading straight for Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze flashed. He reached into the air, and the immortal sword immediately appeared in his hand. With the sword in hand, he gathered his immortal energy and swung it forward. A sword beam several yards long howled out, crashing into the molten lava with a resounding boom. The sound was deafening, echoing throughout the mountain. The lava was forcibly parted, creating a gap. Wang Lin swayed and stepped out from the gap, raising his thumb and pointing forward. With that one point, the very heavens and earth seemed to change color. It felt as if all the light in the world was drawn to this one thumb. The entire world seemed to shrink, leaving only this thumb. This was one of the 3 deadly techniques that Xun'er had taught Wang Lin before his departure. The Annihilation Finger. The 3 deadly techniques were demonic arts that Xun'er had spent tens of thousands of years perfecting. Their power was boundless. In his lifetime, Xun'er only passed them down to Wang Lin. With a single finger, the woman in purple turned pale. The madness in her eyes suddenly disappeared. She was about to teleport away, but to her horror, she discovered that the surrounding space had become extremely fragile, unable to withstand even a single teleportation. If she teleported now, she would most likely disintegrate into nothingness before even a strike could be made. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with coldness as he pointed. Faster than lightning, his finger shot directly toward the woman's forehead. The woman in purple gritted her teeth and swayed her body. To everyone's surprise, a clone emerged from her body, crashing directly into Wang Lin's thumb. With a soft grunt, the clone instantly withered and transformed into a series of white lights, which were all absorbed by Wang Lin's thumb. This time, Wang Lin's thumb grew even more powerful. The woman's face grew even paler. She spat out a mouthful of blood and swayed again. Another clone appeared from her body. "Explode," the woman cried out in a shrill voice.